My name is Mark Miner. I am an investigative writer and author. In my travels, I've investigated many people and places. Watch as I seek out stories that are typically outside of the box of normal. I am the Seeker. Hey everybody, so we are at the Molalla Corridor Recreation Site. So this is pretty much the same location that the Molalla Corridor killer came to. Dump the bodies of the women he killed. I will, first of all, before I get into the details of what this man did, and I'll give you his name and everything, is I have to say, driving out here, so I'm from Albany, so it was, I don't know how many miles I went, but to find this place, you really have to know where you're coming, and you really have to know all the twists and turns, because it's not something that's just off the main highway. You have to go through residential neighborhoods, you have to go through 3 different towns, and you have to know where you're going. So the women that he killed, he would abduct them from Salem, Portland, and the such, and he drove them here from there. So I don't know if he drugged them, or I'm sure he tied them up. But that's a long drive, and I'm putting myself in the position of the victims, and to know that you're on such a long drive, if you're aware, like if you're awake and he didn't drug you, that's scary. Could you imagine being in the back of a van, a car, a truck, whatever, and knowing that you're going to your death? You know, it's just, it would be the most scariest thing ever. I mean, I can count on one hand the time I've come face to face with death. Albeit, you know, putting myself in certain situations, or like having a gun in my face, which I've had before, and even being shot, as I've been. So, but to actually be the victim of a serial killer, because they had to have known. They had to have known that's what he was going to do. So, it says online that the victims were all hookers, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know. They ranged from the age of 16 all the way up in their 30s. So, I want to kind of pan the area to show you the kind of conditions where he left the bodies. So it's really remote, and it's quite the hikes in. So and it's by a river. It's by the Molalla River. So beautiful country, it really is. But you have to understand. Like, look at this. These are the trails. So I'll kind of show you as we walk. So he had to have dragged these bodies through these trails, lifting them, dragging them, whatever. So this guy was a very determined man. This is down by the river. Very beautiful. So he was determined on what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He must have scouted the locations and brought him out here. So his name was Dayton Leroy Rogers. He was born in 1953 in Idaho. When he moved here to Oregon, I don't know. But he was actually sentenced to death for 6 deaths 3 different times. Once in the Oregon Supreme Court, once in 1994, once in 2000, and once in 2006. All of those sentences were overturned because of technicalities. I don't know if that was because of the police gathering evidence or what. I don't know. But they still held him in custody. I'm trying to remember what I read. So they still held him in custody, but I mean for years. I mean that's what, 12 years. Finally in 2006, 2007, they convicted him of 6 deaths. They believe 6 murders, I should say. They believe that he actually did 8, but they couldn't prove it. So they got him on 6. He's now currently in the Oregon State Prison, awaiting death on death row. And boy, this trail is very small. And I don't know when that's going to happen. But the guy was messed up, obviously, in the head. I mean, all the victims had multiple stab wounds. Not until he got them here. Let's see, what does it say? On 3 of the women, their feet were cut off. I guess he had tried to dismember the women. Again, there were 6 of them. On 2 of the bodies, there were saw marks on the thigh bones. That, this was found in autopsies. So he was a very, very messed up guy. So I'm actually coming to the location here of where one of the bodies was found. And that's right here. So he came here. Oh, it looks like somebody's been busting some eggs here. He came here and dumped one of the bodies. Ooh, I want to go down there. Sometimes you see some cool stuff here. And but he scattered 6 of the bodies in various places. So again, this is just but one of them. I have to be careful going down because it's been kind of raining. And this is cool with the rocks. Oh shit, see, I almost slipped. Excuse my language. There's the river. Have to be careful, these rocks are slick. There's the river here. This would actually be a good place to swim, actually. And I love the moss on the trees. So, one thing about Oregon is when you find a cool spot such as this, which is really cool because of the rocks that looks out over the river, you have to come down something like that. And now I get to climb that. So, anyways, so if I get out of breath, you gotta excuse me because it's kind of steep. Anyways, I wanted to come out here and show, the Molalla corridor, some of the history and of the serial killer of obviously that came out here. But that's not the only history that I know, not personally, but that I've been privy to in this location. So if you've watched the episode, oh, see, look at this. I gotta cross this bridge. Let's see if it's good. Yeah, it's good. Okay. If you watched the episode of Monteith Park on how my investigation of what I call the Willamette River Creature happened, then this is kind of like a continuation of that. So I'm going to pause here for a minute. I'm going to show you something. See that tree? That's from the fires that happened here last year. Yeah. So, and how much it has bounced back. Isn't that incredible? There's one of the trees that fell over. Look at that root system. There's the tree. We have really big trees out here. So this is a continuation of, oh, I'm back on the road. Okay, let's go back. This is a continuation of the Willamette River Creature that I filmed, that started at Monteith Park for me. So if you want to know the story of how this all began, go back and watch that episode. When I said there were 5 times or a handful of times where I was faced with death, that was one of them. So you'll have to watch that. However, after that incident happened, if you know me well, and hopefully by now you do, by watching these videos and or knowing me personally, you know that whenever I'm approached with a story that, where'd I come in at? Oh, right here. That it's hard for me to let it go. I have to investigate it, or I kind of just keep it open in my mind. And it was about, as I mentioned in the other video, the Monteith Park video, it was about 6 months after the incident at Monteith Park that I saw this story in the paper about a guy in Crabtree, Oregon, who was attacked, and the paper kind of ridiculed him, which I go through all that in the Monteith Park video. Anyways, that led to me talking, leading to other witnesses, you know, and just on and on and on until I'm up to 44 accounts within a year of people being attacked by this creature, or, you know, seeing it, having, being witnesses to seeing this creature. A lot of people say that it's a dog man. I'm going to tell you why I'm not comfortable with it being a dog man. Because this thing did not have like the snout of a dog, or, you know, it just didn't look like a werewolf. It didn't look like a dog. It looked like a man, but not a man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause here and I'm going to show you a picture, the best rendition of what I thought the creature looked like. Okay, so that's what that creature looked like. So as you can see, it doesn't really look like a dog or a werewolf. However, because of me writing about it, doing videos such as this, people are saying that I'm the West Coast leading authority on dogmen. I never claimed it was a dogman. I never claimed it was a werewolf. I did write Willamette Werewolves based kind of off that story. But you guys, that's fiction, okay? I just wanted to get my story out there and just create a whole fictional story about it. This is what writers do. Sometimes we take everyday stories and we, everyday events, and we make stories from it, right? Rule number one as a writer, write what you know, right? But as fiction writers, we embellish and exaggerate and everything to make the story so much more compelling. This is what I did with Willamette Werewolves. Although the account was real, the fictional story behind it was not. So anyway, and people are taking that way too seriously. Anyways, I am not the leading authority for dogmen on the West Coast. I could take that title and run with it and probably get more publicity, be more famous or something like that. But I'm not going to do that because this is not why I'm in it. I write my stories to entertain people, not to become a celebrity or something. Anyways, with that being said, very long-windedly, this is a place where one of the accounts happened to two people. They actually contacted me via email and told me about their account here. So I'm going to actually go up to the street because I don't know where the exact location was that this happened to these people, these witnesses or whatever. But they did say they were right off of Main Street. Here's the trail. So let me go to the street and then we'll get back on that trail. So here's the street. Road, whatever. This is, see if I can remember it. South, let me see, hold on, I got it written right here. South Dickey Prairie Road. Off of this road, it was a man and woman, so we're just gonna go from there. By the way, whoever did that, shame on you. You gotta keep Oregon clean. I'm gonna pick that up when I go back. It's just kind of scary to have that in my car when I'm driving. So, anyways, so it was a man and woman. I'm not gonna name their names. I don't name any of names for the people who came forward and talked to me. They want to remain anonymous. But what happened was they were on a much wider, bigger trail, more well-known, used trail than the one I'm on right now, as you can see. This is kind of like a little deer trail that runs right along next to the road. But they were on a wider trail. This isn't the location, but it's pretty close to it. And they were just out for a hike. The male was in shape, quite young. I believe at the time he was 19 or 20. The female was a little out of shape. Let me duck underneath this log here. She was a little bit out of shape, and she was in her 40s. And they were friends through the family of the young male. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So, anyways, they were walking on this trail, and here's a down slope. Let me make sure I don't slip here. And they were just walking. It was a nice sunny day. They were out here just hiking, getting some exercise in. And They heard in the woods, as you can see here, it's quite thick. They heard in the woods kind of like a growl and something shaking the trees, the brush, and they stopped. I believe the time of day, if I remember right, was around 4 or 5 p.m. Still light out. It was around the summertime. So, you know, it's still kind of warm. It was light out. And they heard this this something going through the brush and this growl. They'd said to me that it was a growl they have never heard before. That it was a growl that stopped them in their tracks. Sound familiar if you watched my Monteith Park episode? I knew exactly what they were talking about, but as an interviewer, I didn't let on to that because I want them to tell me their story. I don't want to, embellish their story by me telling them mine. Anyways, so they stopped, they froze, they listened for a while, nothing. So they continued to walk. This stopping and freezing because I hear growls happened probably 2 or 3 times. They said they knew there was wildlife in the area, so they just continued walking. Because I asked them, if you heard this, why didn't you go back to your car? Why didn't you just get out of the area? And they said that they knew that it might have been a bear, something. So they just left the area and kept walking. Hopefully the animal would... Ooh, I just walked into a spider web. Okay. I gotta start keeping my eyes up. Yuck. I'm not scared of spiders. I just don't like spider webs all over me. Okay, so anyways. So they continue walking thinking they just get out of the area of the animal. However, when it came to the 3rd or 4th time, they knew that the animal was paralleling them, which means it was following them in the woods. So they got a little scared. Okay, so I have to cross this. So, I mean, I don't have to, but I want to. So I'm going to get to the other side there. Look at that. I am as nimble as they come. Okay. So they decided, you know what? This thing's paralleling us in the forest, which means following them alongside them. So they decided to leave. Again, we're at the river, guys. So we're on a bank here. So they start walking back. And spider web still on me. And to get back to the lady's truck. As they're walking back, this thing in the forest is getting a little more aggressive. So it's howling, it's thrashing trees, everything. So they're picking up their pace. So they're walking very fast. The woman's winded, the male is not. That's how fast they were going. So I'm going to show you across the river, kind of the thicket that's similar. Yeah, so that's kind of the thicket. So there's trees, there's brush. But what they said was, as they kept looking over their shoulder to the side, they would see something brownish, but not overly hairy, whatever. So what they did was they just kept rushing forward. I don't know how far. They said they felt like they were 2 miles away from the truck or a mile. That it had been quite the length. So about, I don't know, they said about a mile. I'm guessing probably about 2 or 3 city blocks. They heard the creature come up from behind them. They didn't turn around. They were too frightened. Ugh. Sorry if I got cobwebs on my face. And anyways, the thing came up on them so fast that both of them tripped over their own feet and fell onto the dirt path. It's a very wide dirt path. Nobody else was in sight. And they looked back, both of them did, while they were on the ground, and saw the creature. The creature they described to me was the same one I saw. I never told them about my incident in this interview. I never told them I saw anything. I never whatever. You know, I never let on that I too was a witness to this. So they described the same creature to the detail of what I saw, was face to face with. This creature was probably 20 feet behind them, coming at them fast. So they got up, you know, that instinct kicked in, that adrenaline. They got up and started running, and this thing got so close, it scratched, because it has long nails, it scratched the back of the woman's leg. And they kept running, she felt the bleeding, and then it scratched the back of the man's back, ripping his shirt and causing blood. Now I know you're thinking this was a bear. No, this was not. First and foremost, this thing was running on 2 feet. It was bipedal. Bears will get on 2 feet, but only when they're at a standstill. They don't run on 2 feet. They may walk, but this thing was at a full run. The thing that they saw was very human and very muscular. It was nude. It was a male. And it was very pissed. So they kept running. Even though they were being cut and scratched, they kept running. When your adrenaline's going, you know, and everything's just going crazy at once, you're not paying attention to all the little details at the time. And in fact, when you go into shock after it's all over, which is, you know, tends to happen, you're not going to remember little details for a while. When they got a hold of me, it was late fall, early winter. So they had taken the time to process what happened and was able to call up some details. Anyways, as they kept running, they finally got to the truck. They looked back, no creature, nothing. So this thing obviously was probably territorial, or probably hunting, and these two people were in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know. But they ended up having to go to the ER. The abrasions, the cuts were so deep. I think it was like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch deep. They had to get stitches. I don't recall how many each of them got, but they showed me their scars, and they showed me the ER reports. They showed me the doctor's notes. The doctor's notes claim that they got scratched by a dog. They were adamant about telling the truth, such as me and my fiance in Monteith Park did. They got laughed at, so they just shut up because they didn't want to be thought they were crazy and end up in the Oregon State Mental Facility. So I'm going to cross this creek again. So that's what happened to them here. There have been other reports of people seeing what they call a mangy bear here, which is a bear with mange, which means that the bear lost its hair, which this creature that I was confronted with also didn't have hair. So, I mean, it had some kind of body hair, but you could totally see the skin all over its body. You could see the nipples on the chest, you could see the genitalia, you could see everything. Only the knees were bent backwards. So it walked with its knee joint backwards compared to ours. So anyways, I took their story and I asked them, can we go to the location and recreate this or see where? They were so traumatized by this, they didn't want to go back, which I don't blame them. I really don't. Because what happened to me at Monteith Park, I did not go back to that park for several years. Even though this park... Alright, so my camera cut out. So, anyways, I don't know when my camera cut off, so it didn't really make a sound. So I'm going to have to fix that on there. So I don't know why it keeps doing that. I think it goes for a certain amount of time. I'm going to have to look into that. Anyways, I don't know where we left off, but the creature has always been seen by rivers. I'm going to go through every location where I've witnessed this creature 3 times. I've been attacked by this creature once with no bodily harm, and I'm going to go to every location witnesses have seen it. I'm going to go to every location where people have been attacked by this thing, which is very few and far between. And I think you're going to be surprised how, well, in some of these locations, because they're very, like, right in the middle of towns. You know, it's amazing. To as rural as this. You know, so look forward to these upcoming videos. I'm going to think of a name for this creature, and you know, that I can tag so that you guys know that this is a continuation of these sightings. I thought about calling it Dogman, but it's not a Dogman. So, and it's not a werewolf, as I've said before. So, anyways, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you guys coming along with me and checking out the beautiful scenery. It's beautiful. It's wet here because we just had rain, and that's the best time. Anyways, and then I will talk to you soon. Don't forget to make some comments. If you have seen a creature similar to what I showed you on here, or have been attacked by something close to that, email me. My email is Utopia, YOUTOPIA 2014 at gmail.com. I will put that down in the description of the video. You can go to my website, which I'll put down in the description of the video, or just leave a comment on here and I'll talk to you privately, not on the comments. Hit some comments if you think you know what it is, if you have some theories. Like the video, you know, that kind of helps me make more of these videos. Subscribe, you know, being a subscriber, you'll be able to see the continuation of this story and other investigations I'm doing. I'm going to tell you, I am working on a story right now that will blow the lid off something big. I know that's very big, but this is probably the biggest story I've done in my whole life. The biggest story I've investigated. And probably, I thought I heard footsteps. And probably the story that's going to ruin me. I'm telling you right now. So I'm exposing people high up in government and organizations that will probably destroy my career or me. So, but I can't let it go. I can't. It's a moral thing. Anyways, so you'll want to subscribe to see all that, and you'll get notifications when these videos come out. So keep an eye on that. But I want to tell you right now, live weird. Love people who live weird. Those are the people who run. You know, I shouldn't say run. These are the people who make movies. These are the people who make music. These are the people who write in the books that you read. Everything that keeps you entertained. Even the people who invent things. Next time you put toast in that toaster, next time you cook on that oven, next time you run that tap. These are all from people who invented things and who were thinking outside that box. Weird. So live weird. Don't ever be ashamed to say you're weird. Be proud in that. And when people make fun of you for it, take it as a compliment. So I'm going to let you go. I so appreciate you guys coming out here with me. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.